All right, here we are. Good evening. Tonight we're going to be learning Maseches Shabbos, Kuf Yud Zayin. And after tonight, that means we have exactly 50 blot until the end of the 40 blot, 40 blot until the end of the Masechta, just a little bit more than a month's time. And Amir Hashem will finish one of the larger Masechtas in Shas, Baruch Hashem. Let's continue from where we left off yesterday. We're on the bottom of Kuf Tezayin, and the base about 7 lines from the bottom, starting with Rabbi Shmuel Beno Shel Rabbi Yochanan ben Baroka. That's where we're starting with. And yesterday, he was of the opinion that when one is in a scenario where Erev Pesach or Yud Daled Nisan falls out on Shabbos, that when one is doing the hafshata, when one is skinning the animal, so according to Rabbi Shmuel, you're only allowed to skin up to a certain point of the chazeh. And the Chacham argued and said that you're allowed to skin the whole animal. And it was perfectly permissible. And the Chachamim there quoted a pasuk, and that was the pasuk that they had used. So now, if we fall back and we ask ourselves, hey, if the pasuk worked for the Rabbanan, then what does Rabbi Shmuel do with their pasuk? If for the Chachamim their pasuk worked in order to get them to skin the whole animal, what does Rabbi Shmuel do with that pasuk? That's our question here, and let's jump in. Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher, Rabbi Yochanan ben Baroka, Hi, Poal Hashem L'Ma'anehu, my Avile. The pasuk that gave permission to the Chachamim to skin the whole animal. So then, what do you do with that pasuk, Rabbi Shmuel? So Rabbi Shmuel is ready with an answer. Shelo Yotzi es ha'imur and kodem havshata sa'or. One should not reach in to pull out the elements of the animal that need to be nikrav until the havshata has been done until the chazeh. How do you know that it stops there? My taima. Amar Rav Huna berei derav nasan mishum nimin. What he was concerned about was the hairs. He wanted to make sure that the skin was actually peeled back to the point where it was easy to reach in and get the parts of the body that were needed for the hakrava. Because otherwise, if you were reaching it at a funny angle, so then some of the hairs of the animal may be pulled off, and that's not the right way to do the hakrava. The hakrava should be done more purely with no hairs. So that's what he does with the pasuk, is to say that you should do it up to the chazeh. Why up to the chazeh, not the whole body? We just need to make sure that there are no nimin, that there are no hairs that are pulled in to the korban. And that's how he answers that question. Says Gemara 5 lines from the bottom. Amar Rav Chizda, Amar Mar Ukva, Mai ahadrule chevraya le Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan ben Baroka. We know, says the Gemara, that there is this machlokes, as mentioned, that Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan ben Baroka was of the opinion that the hafshata, that the skinning only goes to the point of the chazeh, to the chest. And the sheet of the Chachamim was that you could skin the whole body. So what was the lumdus? What went into the sheet of the Chachamim to allow for a greater kula? I mean, if we are being analytical and technical, and that's what we do in the Gemara, we don't need to do the hafshata more than the chazeh, even according to the Chachamim. So why is it that the Chachamim felt that they needed to do more than what Rabbi Shmuel did? Now they also do have a pasuk, so they don't need lumdus, but nevertheless, the Gemara feels they need to explain the sheet of the Chachamim. And here there are going to be 4 different approaches of how the Chachamim try and push back on Rabbi Shmuel. Let's get started. The first answer is as follows. Hachi ka'amri, 4 lines from the bottom of Kuf Tezayin and Beis. This is really what's happening. This is what the Chachamim said back to Rabbi Shmuel. Im matzilin tik hasefer, im hasefer. If one is allowed, when there is, God forbid, a fire on Shabbos, they can grab the tefillin with the tefillin bag. So if they're allowed to do that, lo nafshit es ha-pesach me'oro, wouldn't then one be able to skin the whole animal? It's a little bit of a difficult jump to get from one to the next. And therefore the Gemara in accordance says, mi dummy, is that really, can you really make the comparison that just because you can take the tefillin bag with the tefillin when there's a fire, so too you can skin the whole animal? Mi dummy hasam tiltul hacha malacha. You're comparing apples to oranges. Over here, in the case, Hassam? Over there, the case is a case of tiltul. When you're discussing taking out tefillin with its tefillin bag, so what sugya are we dealing with? We're dealing with carrying from inside a house into a rishus that is a rishus derabanan, a carmelis of some kind. We'll learn more about that later today. That's a din and tiltul. But skinning an animal, that's one of the 39 malachos. So how could you even make the comparison between the world of the bag that holds the tefillin and finishing skinning the animal? Like they're totally not even the same sugyas halachically. One's derabanan and one's deoraisa. Says the Gemara, you're right, and therefore we're going to go to answer number 2. Amar Rav Ashi, therefore what we would have to say is betarte plige. Really, they argue with both matters. They argue with the matter of tiltul, and they also argue with the matter of malacha. Pligi betiltul, pligi b'malacha. V'hachi ka'amrile. And this is what they, the Chachamim, were saying back to Rabbi Shmuel to explain their shita as to why they said they could skin the whole animal and not stop at the chest where Rabbi Shmuel felt that they should stop. Last line, imatzilin tika sefer, ima sefer, lo netaltel, or agav basar, only focusing in on the tiltul. As you can see in both parts of their argument, they have the tiltul. If by the tika sefer, ima sefer, if you're allowed to take the bag of the tefillin bag or the bag of the sefer with the sefer, lo netaltel or agav basar, can't we also move the skin on the basar, not referencing the malacha component, but comparing only apples to apples, both of which are dealing with the actual tiltul of the skin. So there says the Gemara, wait a minute, still, me dummy? Now you got it close enough. We're in a similar ballpark, at least in that we're dealing with tiltul and tiltul. That's fine. But still, the Gemara doesn't like the comparison as we turn to the top of Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. Me dummy, how are you comparing these two things, even though they're both tiltul? Hasam, in regards to the case of the Sefer Torah that has a covering, Hasam, Nase Basis L'Davar HaMuter. There's something in there that you're allowed to move, namely a Sefer Torah. So that should be fine. But Hacha here, in regards to the animal, Nase Basis L'Davar HaAser. But the meat that's inside is Muksa, because even though the Hakrava of the Korban Pesach, remember we're dealing with the Yud Daled Nisan that fell out to be on Shabbos. So yes, you're allowed to do the Hafshata because we need parts of the animal for aspects of the Korban, which was done on Yud Daled. But we don't need the meat until the night, until it's actually the night of. And that doesn't apply until Saturday night. So therefore, it's a bus that's the Davar Ha'aser. It's something which is entirely muksa, and therefore, there's no reason why it should be mutter to start with. So therefore, let's go to answer number 3 as to how the Chachamim push back on Rabbi Shmuel. This is rather what they say. Imatzilin tik shel sefer, im ha-sefer, v'afal pishi ish besocho mos. We're allowed to save a bag in which there is a Sefer Torah and money, lo netaltel or agav basar. Shouldn't we still then be able to move the skin that's attached to this animal? So says the Gemara, again, you are comparing apples to apples, but there's still a difference between the two cases. Midami, how could you compare these two cases? There, by the Sefer Torah, inside the bag is coins and the Sefer Torah. Coins are the davar ha'aser, but the Torah is davar hamuter. So that's one type of muksa. But hacha, here with the case of the basar, it's still the case that kulo nasa basar is the davar ha'aser. The Rishonim should be bothered by this because we asked a new question with no difference in the answer, which means that the question wasn't thought out very well. So that should be something that really should bother the Rishonim. I didn't see anything explicitly written on it, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it. But it still should bother us. And then the Gemara then goes to the fourth answer. Ella, hachi ka'amrele. No, really here's pshat of what the Chachamim are pushing back on Rabbi Shmuel. Says the Gemara, imedian tik. Sheyesh besocha maus me alma lahatzil bo sefer Torah lo netaltel or agav basar. If we have a bag that has coins in it and the Sefer Torah is not yet in it, and we can bring that bag over to the Sefer Torah and put the Sefer Torah in it, so if we can do that, then we should be able to move the animal which has the skin hanging off of it. Should be permissible, no problem with tiltul. And what the Gemara did there is it made the two cases even more equivalent in that the bag only is davar ha'aser. So now it's more equivalent. So it says the Gemara, well, wait a minute. How do you know that we're allowed to move that bag with coins in it to bring it to the Sefer Torah, to then put the Sefer Torah in the bag and bring it out when there is a fire? It says the Gemara, if you want to say that when the Sefer Torah and the coins are in the same bag together, that we don't dump out the coins, we still bring it out. Midami, that's not the same thing. Hasam, when the coins are in the same bag as the Sefer Torah, there's already a fire. We're not going to start dumping out the coins. But but there, in the Havamina that you're trying to present as what the Chachamim are pushing back on the Chachamim, on Rabbi Shmuel, there, while you're walking, you should dump out the coins. You're walking anyways, dump out the coins. Shaidinan, you should get rid of them. Ella, so therefore we reject answer number 4. And in fact, We go back to answer number 1. Ella, we're 1/3 of the way down on Kuf Yud Zayin and Aleph. Ella, Omar Mar Baravashi Lo'olam Kida Amrinan Me'ikara. It's like we said in the beginning. Where was the answer in the beginning? It's 4 lines from the bottom of Kuf Tes Zayin Amud Beis. If we keep one hand here, we can look back there and read the distinction that the Chachamim made. Imatzilan Tik HaSefer Imasefer Lo Nafshi Das HaPesach Me'oro. That if you can carry the Sefer Torah with its bag around it, can we also skin the whole animal? So that's the answer that works. With the Kakashalach back in our Gemara, see over there on the bottom of the page, we argued this by saying one was talking about tiltul and one was talking about malacha. With the Kakashalach hacha tiltul hacha malacha should be hasam. With the Kakashalach hasam tiltul hacha malacha. How could you compare 2 things, one that's deorais and one that's derabanan? Answers the Gemara, Kigon delo kaboyle laor. I don't need the or. Namely, it's a malacha she'en tzricha lagufa, or it's some type of sigration delonichal. It's some type of scenario where we have lowered the status of the Isser to a din derabanan. So even though one's talking about tiltul and one's talking about skinning an animal, and even though those are in theory different areas of halacha, but because of the way the Gemara establishes this first answer by saying that we no longer need the skin, so therefore it lowers the status to a derabanan, and therefore it is apples to apples in that they are both derabanan, and therefore we have a reasonable scenario, which is that the Chachamim are pushing back and saying the reason why we allow skinning the whole animal is because we equally allow carrying out a Sefer Torah with the bag that carries it when there is a fire. So says the Gemara, well, wait a minute. How can you say that that's the case? There's a psik reshe here that if you skin the animal, you're violating an Isser. So I don't understand, why is it that you're saying that this is a good answer? Saying that he doesn't need the skin doesn't really change that much, because now even Reb Shimon, who holds that malacha she'en tzricha legufa is pater, even though that's true, he generally, but that's not true by a psik reshe. And here, when you're tearing the skin, and you're peeling it off. So therefore, you're violating the Isser of hafshata. You're violating the Isser of skinning the animal. Answers the Gemara, which brings us to the 2 dots at the middle of the page. You tore it off in a way where the skin was not usable. If you take a quick look at Rashi Dibur Hamaskil Deshakile Lebarze, much below where we are, about 5 lines before Rashi widens, 6 lines, 7 lines, Rashi says, Deshakile Lebarze, Bechatichos Dakos Mafshi, Bechotech, De'ein Derech Havshata Bekach, V'lav Melachahu El Shvus. So here, it's not just that it's delo kaboy. It's not that you didn't want the skins. It's that the way you peeled the animal was not derech havshata bekach. That's not the way we peel animals. It's not the way we skin animals. And that's how the Gemara answers the question. But had it been that you were peeling the animal, skinning the animal regularly, so then you're right. We would have fallen back on the default of Abaye v'Rava Damri Tarvayu, that they both hold of psik reish v'lo yamos. So therefore, the case that we have come up with of the Chachamim that are arguing with Rabbi Shmuel is a case where they say if you are allowed to take out a Sefer Torah with its teeth, with its bag, so too you can skin the whole animal, provided that the skinning of the animal was done in a way which was not derech havshata bekach. And that's how the Chachamim pushed back on Rabbi Shmuel. Continues the Gemara halfway down. We said in our Mishnah, Ulahechan matzilan osan, where are you allowed to take out? Where are you allowed to take out the items that you're allowed to take out? Where do you take them to? So if you just look back on Kuf Tes Zayin Amud Beis, about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see a Mishnah there, first of the longest lines. And the end of that Mishnah said that you can bring it out to a mavoi that's not mefulash, a mavoi that doesn't go all the way through, which is basically Rishus HaYachid. And Ben Beseira added afla mefulash, even to a place where there is, even to a place that is mefulash, even to a place where the road does go all the way through. So the Gemara is trying to find out now, asks the Gemara halfway down in Kuf Yud Zayin Vad Aleph, Hechi dami mefulash, Hechi dami l'she'eno mefulash. What are these 2 shitas in the Mishnah, one of the Tanakama and one of Ben Beseira? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'akol nihye b'dvaro. Says the Gemara, answer number 1. We're going to see 1, 2, 3 different answers, which will then bring us in Yirtzeh Hashem to the next Mishnah on the top of the next page. Answer number 1, Amar Rav Chizda, Shalosh mechitzos. Let's say you have a mavui that's encased on 3 sides. V'lechi v'shnei lechayayin, and it has 2 lechis at the gate, at the opening. Zeh mavui she'eno mefulash. This is not a Rishus HaRabim. This is considered to be enclosed, and that is the sheet of the Tanakama of our Mishnah, that it's eno mefulash. What about mefulash? Shalosh mechitzos v'lechi echad. But if you have three mechitzos, it's enclosed on three sides. But at the opening of the mavui, it doesn't have two lechis, one on each side, but rather only the lechi echad. Zem mavui hamefulash, and that's considered to be an open mavui, more open. The tarvaihu aliba de Rabbi Eliezer. Both of these shitas seem to be in line with the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. How so? Titnan, the Mishnah writes, Hechsher mavui. What is considered to be a kosher mavui? That's a three-way machlokas tanoim. Beis Shammai omrim lechi v'korah. You need both a lechi and a korah. You need the post on the side and you need the rope across the top. Ubeis Hillel omrim o lechi o korah, either or, but you don't need both. Rabbi Eliezer omer shnei lechayayim. You need both of them. You need two lechis at the opening. And that's clearly what was depicted by Rav Chizda when Rav Chizda said that the definition of that which is eino mefulash. What's hechsher mavui? Why do you make something eino mefulash so that it's really a reshus hayachid mamish? So it's encased on three sides, and you have two lechayayim, two lechis at the opening. Clearly, this shita of Rav Chizda is predicated on the earlier shita in the Tanaim of Rabbi Eliezer. Amar le Rabba shalosh mechitzos v'lechi echad mefulash karyas le. If you have something, a mavui that's encased on three sides with walls, and you have a lechi at its doorway, maybe not two, but one, you still consider that mefulash, that's not a reshus hayachid? Well, that's ridiculous. It's encased and you have your heker, you have your reminder. Don't understand. That's question number one against Rav Chizda. Question number two against Rav Chizda, Ode, Rabbanon, according to the opinion of the Rabbanon, it's mamash or reshus hayachid. You should be able to take out a tremendous amount of food into that space. It's a reshus hayachid. I don't understand the concern of the Mishnah that's limiting us. Why would you say that we're limited in any way? It's a reshus hayachid mamash. So therefore, the Gemara presents its second answer about how we define mefulash and eino mefulash. Therefore, Ella, Amarabba, shtei mechitzos u'shnei lechayayin. There are two mechitzos and two lechayayin, meaning two of the four sides are covered with walls, and at the opening there are two lechis. Zeh mavui she'eino mefulash. However, that's considered to be a place that's eino mefulash. That's considered enclosed. However, shtei mechitzos v'lechi echad zeh mavui hamefulash. But if you have two mechitzos and you only have one lechi, so then there we would say that's mavui hamefulash, where the road is considered to go totally through, and it is less than reshus hayachid. And that's what Ben Beseira in our Mishnah was matir. The tarvaihu alibud Rabbi Yehuda, unlike Rav Chizda, who followed the footsteps of Rabbi Eliezer, this shita of Rabba follows the Tana of Rabbi Yehuda. How so? The Tanya, the Brisa writes, we're 5 lines from the bottom, Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. The Tanya, Yeser al Kain, Amar Rabbi Yehuda misheyesh lo shnei batim. Someone owns two homes, b'shnei tzidei reshus harabim, and they're across the street from one another. O salechi mikan v'lechi mikan, o kore mikan v'kore mikan, v'nosei v'nosein ba'emtza. You can put up either a lechi or a kore between your two homes, and then you can carry in between them, no problem at all. Amrulo, the Chachamim said back to him, Ein me'arvin reshus harabim b'kach. That is not how we are me'arvin reshus harabim, but nevertheless we see that Rabbi Yehuda's shita was reflected later by Rabba, and that's answer number 2. Amar le Abaye, pushing back on this shita of Rabba to say that it's 2 walls and 2 lechis, or 2 walls and 1 lechi. Amar le Abaye ledidach nami, but still we would argue the same thing in our Mishnah, that according to your definition of eino mefulash, of 2 lechis with 2 kores, then l'Rabbanan netzil lesocho ochlen umashkin. We should be able to take out anything we want into that space. Why is our Mishnah that we learned about limiting us about what we're allowed to take out? I don't understand. You should be able to take out everything. It's a reshus hayachid mamish. Take a look at the last few words of Rashi on this page. It's within Dibur Hamaschil l'Rabbanan. Just look at the very last line of Rashi. Ihachi, if all of this is true, l'Rabbanan yatzi l'tocha ochlen umashkin kimo lechatzer ha'me'ureves. It's considered it's like it's me'urav. There's an eruv there. Why would we have any limitations whatsoever? And because of this question, we therefore have to reject the sheet of Rabbah, because this answer doesn't explain why it is that we'd be limited from taking things out of a home that's on fire into this reshus hayachid. Which brings us to the third and final answer at the top of Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Ela Amar Rav Ashi, Shalosh mechitza b'lechi echad zeh mavui she'eino mefulash. We define a space that is a private space as a mavui, an encased area that has 3 sides. 3 of its walls are encased, and there is a lechi at the opening, just one of them, and that's considered to be reshus hayachid. However, shalosh mechitzos below lechi zeh mavui hamefulash. If you have 3 mechitzos with no lechi, we haven't seen this shita yet. If you have 3 mechitzos with no lechi, that is considered that is considered mufulash, that's considered open. The Rabbi Eliezer, the Amar Ba'in L'chayayim, and even according to Rabbi Eliezer, who agrees that in general, in order to create a space that's eino mufulash, a place that's a reshus hayachid, that you need 2 lechis at the entrance, hanimili le'ochlin umashkin. That's only true in regards to carrying out foods. But aval sefer Torah bechad lechi sagi. So now we've come up with our answer, which is the shita of Rav Ashi. And Rav Ashi is who established our case is where there is just one lechi at the doorway of a mabui that's enclosed on 3 sides, and that explains why the question that we just asked previously about why we're not allowed to carry out ochlin and umashkin is because within Rabbi Eliezer for ochlin and umashkin it's only considered a reshus hayachid when there's 2 lechis. But as it relates to taking out a sefer Torah on Shabbos, we're going to be more makil because we want to save the sefer Torah. So there, as long as there's only 1 lechi, that is considered sufficient to carry out a sefer Torah. Beautiful. That brings us to the next Mishnah, 6 lines from the top of Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Let's continue. God forbid, in that fire scenario, how much food can you take out of the fridge? Can you roll the whole fridge out of the house? How does it work? How many meals are you allowed to take? Says the Gemara, Machlokas Tanaim. Matzilen mazon shalosh seudos. One is allowed to take out, they're allowed to save 3 Shabbos meals. Haroi la'adam la'adam, haroi la'behema la'behema. And not only can you take out food for yourself, you take out food that's fit for you, but as well you take out food that is fit for a behema. Ketzad, what is the case? So according to the Tanakama, nafla deleka b'leilei Shabbos, if there's a fire just as Shabbos kicks in, Rachmana litzlan, matzilan mazon shalosh seudos, because there are 3 meals left, you have yet to sit down and eat your Friday night meal. So you have Friday night, you have Shabbos day, and you have Shalosh Shudas, you can save 3 meals. But B'shachris, if the fire was in the morning, you already ate Friday night dinner. So then matzilan mazon shtei seudos, you can prepare the 2 meals. You can pull out the 2 meals, one for Shabbos lunch, the Iker Suda Shabbos, and one for Shabbos Ben Mincha. What if you already ate lunch? So then, Mazon Suda Achas, that's the sheets of the Tanakama. Rav Yossi Omer, Lo'olam Atzilan Mazon Gimel Seudos, it makes no difference. Even if by Shalosh Shudas, the din is that you can always take out 3 meals. We'll discuss this later, not today, but we'll discuss this later. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. I don't understand why you're limiting the food. If it's mutter to carry, it's mutter to carry. Look at the shita we just saw a few lines ago. According to Rabbi Eliezer, if you were to have a scenario of a fire, so we allow carrying things out, not lechatchila, but when there's a fire, we allow things to be carried out when there's even 1 lechi. So here you're letting us carry out 3 meals. Why can't I take out 10 meals? Why do I have to let all the food go to waste? Maybe we should engage a question of Bal Tashchis. Why are we allowed to let it all burn? Once it's mutter to carry something out, it should be mutter to carry more out. So only 3 meals. We should be able to carry even 4 meals, 5 meals, 10 meals, roll out the whole fridge. So says the Gemara, Amar Rava, a very deep and powerful psychology. Amar Rava, mitoch she'adam bahul al mamono, because of the fact that people are bahul al mamono. We're very concerned about our money. It drives us a little crazy to think about our losses. Isharisle, asi lechabuye. If we were given the green light to take everything, then we might come to the point where we'd be so concerned about our belongings that we would put out the fire. But here, the Chachamim, fully aware of this psychology, gave us a limit. You can take out a maximum of 3 meals, according to the second shita in the Mishnah of Yossi, and a maximum of 3 meals and a minimum of 1 meal, according to the Tanakama, but no more than 3 meals. Because once we allow you to take out more than 3, says Rava, we're isharis, if we give you too much permission, then we're afraid that you're going to put out the fire, and that would be mechabe and isur deoraisa. And while it's true that when it comes to pikuach nefashos, there's no doubt you put out a fire, that's for sure. We're obviously dealing now in a case where there is no risk to human life. So therefore, because there's no risk to human life, there is no amount of money that we are allowed to spend in order to violate a Mr. D'Oraisa. We have to let the house burn down, God forbid. So that's a very powerful psychology by Rabbi, that the Chachamim had to put into place a maximum number of meals because of this idea that Adam is bahul al mamono, and therefore that was the maximum. Well, let's look at the following brisa. People used to keep their barrels of wine on their roof. So let's say that one of the barrels cracked and wine is dripping down. Maybe you can go get a pot, you can go get a utensil of some kind to collect the dripping wine, no problem at all. But you can't bring out every pot in the kitchen. You can bring out 1 pot, and that's the 1 pot you can bring. You can't start bringing out a whole collection of pots. Not only that, and also as well, kli acher v'yitzrov, you're also not allowed to bring a kli and make it perfectly level with the roof so that it instantly drips into the pot. So hasamai gzera ika, you're so concerned about adam bahul al mamona. What's the gzera? I don't understand. So says the Gemara, hachanami gzera shema yavi kli derech reshus harabim. There we were concerned that a person, if we gave them permission to bring every pot under the sun, so therefore, then they were concerned that maybe they'd run to their neighbor's house, they'd run to their house, and they'd carry on Shabbos. They'd bring out something derech reshus harabim. They might violate something. So that's the same svara of Rava applied to a new case. The Gemara then digs in on this case, just about halfway down. Gufa, nishbara lo chavis berosh gago. We're going to focus in on this case that we just spoke about. A barrel cracks on the top of your house and it was filled with wine. We already said maybe kli maniach tachteha. You can bring one kli, one type of utensil and put it underneath to collect the dripping wine. But you can't bring extra ones to put them on the ground to catch them, and you certainly can't put them up by the roof to catch the wine. However, if in fact you had a reason to collect more, you invited people over for Shabbos, you have extra orchim, so that one pot would be insufficient to serve wine to all your guests, then mutter. Then maybe kliacher v'kolei kliacher umitzareh. Then you're allowed to take another pot and collect more wine, or you can even take the pot and put it up against the roof and collect it by the roof, no problem at all. Below yiklod v'achar kach yasmin, you can't first collect the wine and say, I'm going to save all the wine and then I'm going to go invite the neighbors. No, first, you first have to invite people and feed them. You have to be willing to feed them. And under those circumstances, it's kind of like the only way to get it done within halacha without using loopholes. But you can't use these loopholes of like, hey, I see you're standing outside. Come in, you're going to be my guest. And then you collect the wine and then you say goodbye, I have no food to feed you. That's a shita of the Tanna Kama. However, Mishum Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Huda, Omer Ma'arimin, we do allow to create this loophole in halacha. We do this in halacha many times. There's plenty of times that we use loopholes. Here's one of them, according to Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Huda. So what does he allow? He allows you to invite someone specifically in order to save the wine, unlike the Tanna Kama. So says the Gemara, Lema, maybe we should say that this machlokas tanaim about whether or not we allow lechatchila to do this ha'arama, to do this loophole. Maybe Lema beplugta de Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshua kemiflage. Maybe this is based on the machlokas of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. The Tanya, as the Brisa writes, Osove espeno shenaflu lebor. As we know from the world of Hilchos Shchita, and if we don't, then we can learn it now. The halacha is that a parent and child cannot be shechted on the same day. It's not. It doesn't show rachamim. It's a pasuk in the Torah. Osove espeno lo tishchatu b'yom echad. You're not allowed to shecht both of those animals on the same day. So let's say it's Yantif, and you have both of these animals that fell into a pit. So here we have a machlokas as to what we do with these animals. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Ma'ales Harishon al Manas Shochto. You can bring up the first one because an animal that you're allowed to shecht is considered muchan. It's considered prepared for that day, so there's no din muksa. So bring up animal number one. That's the animal that's muchan for you. You're technically allowed to shecht it. Perfect. What do you do with the second animal? You feed it b'makomo b'shvil shelo yamos. You feed it so that the animal won't die, but the animal's taka muksa. So you can feed it, but you can't pick it up. You can't move it around. Regular dinim of muksa by animals. That's the sheet of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yoshua Omer. And here's where we're going to see the reliance on a loophole. Let's see what Rabbi Yoshua says. Rabbi Yoshua says, again, our case. Oso ve'espino, you have a mother and a child animals that have fallen into a pit, and you really would like to get both of them out. Rabbi Eliezer said you can get out as one, because once you pull out the first one, that's the only one that's muchan, that's the only one that's ready for shechita. How does Rabbi Yoshua do the math? He says as follows. You pull out animal number one with intent to shech it, and then you're like, you know what? I'm not going to shech that one. I want to shech the second one, a little bit of a better animal. You can pick. So maybe suggests the Gemara that this machlokes that we have by Oso ve'espino, Rabbi Eliezer says that you're not allowed to do loopholes, and Rabbi Yoshua says you are. Maybe that's a good comparison to our case of the wine. Can we invite extra guests as a loophole to save more wine? Says the Gemara, Mimai. Maybe this comparison is really not a good comparison because the two cases are not comparable. How so? Because, says the Gemara, 2/3 of the way down, Dilma ad kan lo kama Rabbi Eliezer hasam de'efshar b'parnasa. Maybe the only reason why Rabbi Eliezer was strict about doing a loophole, saying that you can only pull up the first of the two animals in Oso ve'espino, but not both, is because you had the opportunity to feed that other animal and keep it alive. Aval hacha, here by the wine, there's no way to save the wine without doing ha'arama, without doing a loophole. Maybe here, delo efshar lo, aval hacha delo efshar lo, so maybe there he would not have been so strict, and he would have allowed a ha'arama. And maybe by Rabbi Yoshua, he would have said differently by the wine. Maybe over there, the only time Rabbi Yoshua allowed the loophole by Oso ve'espino was because of Tsar Balei Chaim, and he allowed for a kula because of Tsar Balei Chaim, and therefore he allowed for the ha'arama. However, but here by the wine, there is no Tsar Balei Chaim lo. Maybe he would have said that there's no harm. So basically, you're trying to take our case that we started with of the wine that's dripping. Do we have ha'arama? Do we not? Machlokas tanoim. We tried to compare it to the case of Osa ve'espino with the two shitas of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yeshua says the Gemara, sorry, there's not enough teeth to the comparison because I easily could have argued that each of their shitas were specific to that case. They were circumstantial and they were not sweeping, and therefore we cannot make the comparison. Tana Rabbanan, 3/4 of the way down. Hitzil pas nakia, ein matzil pas hadra. Once you save a finer flour, you save the nicer flour. You can't go back in and bring out the junk flour. You can only once you bring out the good flour, that's all you can bring out. But pas hadra, if you started out bringing out the meals for Shabbos, whatever they are, you started bringing out flour, which was the lower quality flour. Then you are allowed to go back in and bring out the nicer flour. And you're allowed, of course, from Yom Kippur to bring out to Shabbos. The din we saw earlier a couple of plot ago. However, of course, you can't bring out food on Shabbos for Yom Kippur because you can't eat on Yom Kippur. So obviously you can't bring out food on Shabbos for Yom Kippur. Obviously you can bring out for Shabbos for Yom Tov. However, but of course you can't prepare from one Shabbos to the next. That would be hachana mamish, and that's also you're not allowed to do that. Tana Rabbanan, we learned this sugya on Daf Gimel or Daled. Where was it? It doesn't mention. I think it was Daf Gimel or Daled. Shachach pas b'taner v'kidei shalav hayom. A person had bread in the oven from before Shabbos, and then kidei shalav hayom, and then Shabbos kicked in. Now remember that the way that they made bread was they put the dough, they stuck it on the side of the oven, and they would use a special process called redias hapas. They were roda esapas. It was considered what we call in the halachic jargon a chachma. It wasn't a simple task. It was more of a sophisticated task, and we really shouldn't be doing it on Shabbos. It says the Gemara, what should you do? It says the Gemara, matzilin mazon gimel seudos. You're allowed to do redias hapas. You're allowed to be roda the pas. You can peel off the wall enough for 3 mazonos, for 3 matzilin mazon shalosh seudos. That you can take off for 3 meals, no problem at all. But Omer la'acherim, and you can tell your friends, Bo v'hatzilu lachem, you guys can all take your own. I can't take for you. I can't violate the isser of roda bepas, but you can do it for yourself. So I got my 3 meals. Go do this yourself. But when you do it, you should not use the tool that's specific for being roda, which probably looked like one of those like metal pizza things that you kind of slide in under the pizza. Probably looked something like that, but you can't use that elabasaki. You should use something that has a similar functionality, but isn't the specific tool. Take a knife and put it at a slight angle and just cut against the wall, and it'll pop off the wall at some point. So you're allowed to only for gimel seudos, but you can't use the regular kli of the marda. You have to use a saki. It says in Gemara, why are you being so strict? Well, why are you being so strict? There's no Isser D'Rabbanan on here. What is okay? You can't do things that are Asr. Yatsa, Tkiya Shofar, Redias Hapas, Shehi Chachma ve'eina malacha. It's not a malacha, it's a chachma. So why are you being so strict here? Answers the Gemara. The reason why we're forcing you to not use the marden, to use the sakin, is because we're doing our best to minimize the similarity to Redias Hapas, and therefore you can do it. We're allowing you to do it. But you should do it without the marda. You should not use the tool that was specific for a redias hapas, and instead you should use a knife instead. One last line for the night. Amar Achizda. Shabbos. A person should wake up early on Friday to take care of their Shabbos. You should prepare everything for that day. Do so immediately. We'll stop here for the night. And Hashem will pick up tomorrow night with Daf Kuf Yud Ches. Wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful